Over the last year or so, we've had to make some considerable changes to our regular daily lives and had to do a lot of things differently. Things we'd never thought we'd do. Work from home, wear a face mask when going to buy a packet of biscuits from Tesco, and listen to Joe Wicks tell us how fat and out of shape we are.
Cartwheel! Good morning, everybody!
With lockdown and having to stay at home, we've all found a lot more time on our hands. Some more than others.
Has that mark always been there?
This was time to learn new hobbies, learn more about who we are as an individual, or complete the entire catalogue of Netflix and Amazon Prime. No prizes for guessing what I did. However, this video isn't actually anything to do with lockdown, despite the amount I've gone on about it already. In fact, it's about a memory I've unlocked recently. Something my 4 brain cells had hidden under the carpet for the better part of a decade. Something I had only rediscovered due to going down the IMDb rabbit hole in my boredom at home. See, I knew I'd bring it around eventually. This is the memory of a film called Movie 43. Movie 43 is a film that was released in 2013, and it is, spoiler alert, fucking awful. It's an anthology film made up of 11 sketches and what is known as a framing device, which links the skits together. First of all, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. Not me. One of the most eye-catching things from this movie's poster, and I'm sure you'll have noticed it, the studio definitely wanted you to notice it, is the amount of talented and recognisable faces involved in this film. Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet, Richard Gere, Steve Merchant, Halle Berry, Liev Schreiber, Kristen Bell, Jason Sudeikis, Naomi Watts, Gerard fucking Butler.
Cut up his balls!
I'm sure a lot of you are sat at home saying, but Greg TMR, Movie 43 has such a star-studded cast. It surely can't be as bad as you suggest. Well, my friends, I need only direct you to the IMDb rating of 4.3 out of 10 and the Rotten Tomatoes score of 4% that this film possesses to tell you that it really is. In fact, Movie 43 has even been branded by one critic as the Citizen Kane of awful. I, for one, am genuinely baffled about how some of these actors saw fit to sink down to such a level and be part of this project. 2 of these actors were even included in the Oscar nominations the year this came out. So, what the fuck? Was it for the payday? The budget for this film was only $6 million. And I get it. A paycheck is a paycheck. And maybe for some of these younger actors and actresses, it's a lot harder to turn down work. But Hugh, what are you doing, man? The actual reason this film managed to pull in such a roster of talent is sort of Hugh Jackman's fault. Let me explain why. Movie 43 had been in the making for about a decade, and stemmed from producer Charlie Weisler's desire to create a modern-day version of Kentucky Fried Movie, a 1977 comedy of a similar style, a collection of skits and sketches. Weisler and producing partner Peter Farrelly, try saying that 5 times faster, faced constant rejection from studios who didn't want to touch his project with a shitty stick. In fact, the idea was seen as so toxic, when George Clooney was approached for the role, he said, "No fucking way, like an absolute G, you don't need that energy, king." Eventually, the film was funded and distributed by Relatively Media. You'll be happy to know that Relatively Media have filed for bankruptcy twice since Movie 43 came out, so, there is some justice in the world. Once the bag was secured, the lads on tour set about getting their actors. Hugh Jackman was the first to agree, and then Kate Winslet followed. Naturally, their scene together was the first to be shot, and then over the course of the next 4 years, the remainder of the film was shot. Farrelly and Weisler all too willing to work around the other actors' schedules. In the case of Richard Gere, they even moved production across the United States to be near him and facilitate his role in the film. When producer Peter Farrelly was asked if he ever suspected that certain actors deliberately delayed their part as a way of saying they wanted out, he said, "They clearly wanted out, but we wouldn't let them. The strategy was simple. Wait for them, shoot when they want to shoot, guilt them to death." Giving me total jurisdiction to label Farrelly a simp for Hollywood actors. Sort it out, lad, it's not that deep. Fucking weirdo. Okay, fuck me, enough context, let's just get into critiquing this piece of shit and find out why it is so bad. The film opens with some badass punk rock music and this moron shouting at the camera. Wait, do I recognise this guy? Oh, he's the dumbass from We're the Millers, isn't he? Oh no, wait! He's also from that god-awful American In-Betweeners remake. Brilliant. It turns out these 2 fucktards are wannabe YouTubers, and it's all good, isn't it?
Dude, got a view! Yeah, buddy, that was us when we uploaded it.
So Calvin and JJ think their video is becoming the next viral hit, like Dramatic Hamster or Rebecca Black. I don't really remember 2013 memes, to be honest. It turns out it's actually a prank from Calvin's little brother Baxter.
I took the liberty of cloning YouTube and hyperinflating your views.
You little shit!
Did
you just try to hit me through your computer screen?
So Tweedledee and Tweedledum here decide to return the prank back on the little ship. They plan to take his laptop and load it full of viruses from porn sites, but first they need to distract him. They tell Baxter about a film that's so dangerous it will cause the annihilation of the entire world. The movie, known as Movie 43. How clever. While JJ and Baxter search for Movie 43, Calvin takes Baxter's laptop and loads it with the viruses. This is basically what we call the framing device between sketches in the film. During their search for Movie 43, JJ and Baxter stumble across the 11 sketches we watch over the next hour and a half. I tried to make that description as interesting as I could and not dull as fuck, but look what I'm dealing with here. I do want to point out also that there is an alternative framing device used to connect each skit. It's called the pitch, and I think it's on the US version of the film. Ironically, I can't seem to find footage of it anywhere online, so you can just pause on this description here and use your own imagination. Baxter goes onto the dark web trying to find Movie 43, and we stumble across our first skit. Christ, here we go.
My balls was hot.
In the first sketch, we're introduced to Kate Winslet, who is off on a blind date with Hugh Jackman. He seems like the perfect guy. He's attractive, owns his own law firm, volunteers a lot, and even features on a magazine cover, for some reason. Once they meet, Winslet realises the only hiccup about him. His balls are on his neck. This is the first sketch. YouTube won't let me show balls, of course, so I've instead replaced them with Pitbull and Patrick Stewart. But that's the joke. That's the punchline of the sketch. He has balls on his neck. That's it. It's just her being pretty awkward about the fact he has balls on his neck, with very predictable and pretty uninspiring jokes based around it. Oh, a pube drops into the soup. I wonder if he'll drink. Yeah, he does. Oh, it's getting cold in the room. I wonder if they'll do the thing when they shrink. Yeah, Funny. There's even a bit where a baby randomly comes in, and yeah, you can kind of guess what happens here. The skit ends when Kate Winslet comes to her senses, pulls out of the production, sacks her agent, and runs off set. Great start. Back to the Three Musketeers here, and Calvin has now taken Baxter's laptop, trying to load the viruses on. Swiftly on to sketch 2. This film has a tendency to rush things. I mean, no complaints from me, let's get this shit over and done with. Two parents have basically invited the new neighbours over for some red wine, nibbles, possibly a swingers party. We never find out. They talk about how they homeschool their son, and the skit is about how they insist on giving him every element of high school to make sure he doesn't miss out. They homeschool the kid, but still inflict the bullying, being left out, awkward first kiss, those kind of negative experiences we all go through. We did all go through them, didn't we? But again, that's the one joke. Are you beginning to see a pattern emerge here? Even if it was comical in any way, it's one laugh and then 5 minutes of dull repetition. The stylization of this skit kind of reminds me of a Family Guy episode, with cutaway gags, that sort of outlandish, sometimes gross out humour, and the set piece of comedy sort of style. Anyway, the neighbours are pretty shocked by this approach to parenting. The kid comes downstairs, they don't know what to expect, and oh, wow, what a surprise, he's actually kind of normal and sweet, and oh, isn't that nice? Oh, no, he's a fucking Looney Tune. Of course he is. I mean, to be fair, to elicit this kind of reaction when Naomi Watts is trying to neck on with you, you're bound to be pretty unhinged.
I'm the pretty girl.
She is.
In the proposition, we have Chris Pratt and Anna Faris, and oh, fuck me, why are these brilliant actors doing this? We're 3 sketches in and there's not been a single laugh. Jesus Christ. It's not even tongue-in-cheek comedy, satire, so bad it's good, whatever the fuck you want to label it. It's just dire. Basically in this one, Star-Lord wants to propose to his girlfriend on a romantic date, but she also has a question to ask him.
How about we say it at the same time?
Okay.
1, 2...
Will you poop on me?
What the fuck?
This skit revolves around Chris Pratt preparing to shit on his girlfriend. Although apparently there is a difference between shitting and pooping, but I can't even begin to find the energy to discuss the semantics of it. The black guy has a suspicious amount of knowledge about this topic and gives Simon shit your brains out a laxative to help him through the event. This sketch triggers me the most because I have this irrational discomfort for watching people cram food in their mouths. It might be because of my gluttony for good food, but that's between me and my Uber Eats account. Star-Lord takes his laxatives and is desperate to release his bowels, but Anna Faris keeps delaying.
Not yet.
He eventually snaps.
Come on, roll over and let me shit on you, please.
And she runs out the door into the street. No idea where she's going, but okay. I'll be totally honest, Chris Pratt's little waddle here was the closest I came to laughing. I think that was the delirium setting in. He runs across the street but gets hit by a car, and she gets a lady boner about how much shit there is all over the road.
All of this was for me?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's so beautiful.
He proposes, she accepts. Result. This sketch sort of solidifies the gross out for gross out's sake humour in this film. We see a lot more of it, so buckle up. Back to present day, I suppose we call it. And Baxter is having a Sherlock Holmes mind palace moment as he figures out how to find the fabled movie 43.
I hacked into the mainframe of the Bundesnachrichtendienst.
Fuck's sake. The line, "I hacked the mainframe," made me laugh. I don't know why.
I love you, bitch. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
I'm going to shock you here. I don't hate this sketch. It's set in a supermarket and centres around Neil and his ex-girlfriend Veronica arguing and taking shots at each other. However, as it progresses, the argument shifts into a more flirtatious and sexual nature. Sexual nature, alright Grandad. All of this conversation between the two is also, inadvertently, being broadcast over Neil's tannoy to the supermarket shoppers.
How's Veronica?
Veronica's fine, Veronica.
I can't believe you named your dog Veronica.
I can't believe you sucked off that hobo for magic bean.
He was a wizard, Neil.
I don't think it's a particularly great sketch, but the writing and the delivery from the main two actors makes it feel snappy and a bit more worth watching. It didn't make me laugh out loud, but it made me exhale slightly. Which is more than can be said for the rest of the sketches we've seen already. This sketch kind of feels like it's going somewhere as well. Veronica storms out of the shop. The customers all rally around Neil, offering to take over his shift so he can go and chase the girl. Neil runs after Veronica. Will he catch her in time and stop? Oh, no, cut. Moving on. Well, we'll never know. None of these things fucking finish. They just end. There's no fucking room for them to do anything.
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name.
This sketch is actually quite interesting and kind of a fun concept. I think I like it because it feels like a Tom Scar YouTube skit. It's quite endearing. And for fuck's sake, I can't not smile when Jason Sudeikis comes on screen. Fucking love the guy. I actually kind of like this absurdist comedy. That sort of diversion from typical expectations of how we normally see superheroes in typical media. It's also the only sketch that feels like it has any kind of narrative, rather than just feeling like you're thrown into an already existing situation and then pulled out 5 minutes later without reaching a conclusion. I actually did a bit of research on this sketch because I was so surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And it turns out it's actually an adaptation of a short film available on YouTube called Robin's Big Date. It's from 2005 and starred Sam Rockwell as Batman, but it's written by the same guy.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
This sketch features Richard Gere and follows a meeting at headquarters of a discount Apple type company. They're talking about the issues they're having with their latest MP3 player product, the iBabe.
The iBabe is a
high fidelity music player.
It also looks and feels exactly like a naked woman. Teenage boys are physically attracted to naked women.
Our research doesn't support that.
Kids are sticking their penises in the vent. The fan then mangles their penises.
None of us could have seen this one coming.
I did.
Take it easy, Aaron Brockovich.
I think this is a sort of half-baked attempt of social commentary on how male-dominated big companies are, or maybe how out of touch men are in general to how women feel. I don't really know because it does such a poor job of trying to convey any type of message.
Did you anticipate anybody breaching the cooling system? Any red flags? Dave.
Such a Family Guy joke.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
Arguably the worst one so far, and definitely my least favourite. Chloe Moretz is on a date at this kid's house. I don't remember his name. Let's call him Clive. When Moretz goes to the bathroom, Clive notices a red patch on the settee and sniffs it, presuming it to be fruit punch. But in fact, Chloe Moretz is getting her first period. Once Clive and his older brother clock on, they all start screaming and freaking out.
He must have sat on a nail or something.
Wait, she's having her period.
Oh my god. What do I do?
You don't know what to do? You never had your period before?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, Maggie, she's already lost a lot of blood.
The pacing of this one is just really weird. Again, it's that gross out for gross out's sake, and there's awful overreacting in it. There's this really weird random conflict out of nowhere between Joe from Family Guy and the other dad.
What the hell's going on here?
Dad!
Oh my god, honey! What the hell kind of sick family squashes a large tomato in my daughter's pants?
Whoa, watch what you're implying about my family.
Oh, I don't gotta watch anything, Jack.
Chloe Moretz shouts at them and then everyone's Gucci and all agrees that periods are gross.
She's got her period?
So disgusting. You don't have a camping
Periods gross. Am I right, lads? Then there's a random dad fart because movie. Weirdly, this skit seems to be one of the most talked about and rated. I think it went viral on Facebook and Twitter at some point. I don't fucking know. I suppose it's some satirical take on how badly men deal with female puberty, but it feels too aggressive and rushed to get any kind of story out of it for me. Quick update on the framing device now, and Baxter and JJ continue their search for movie 43. Except now, they are being warned by an angry Russian man not to look any further. I find it really difficult to care about this anymore. If you want to make a film based around anthology skits, then at least have the creativity to figure out a better way to transition between them. The story that weaves them all together is so dull and pointless that the film just gives up trying to transition around the hour mark. The boys even stop reacting to the skits that we've just seen and act as if nothing happened. Wouldn't it make me as an audience member care more about these characters if I had the impression that they'd seen what I'd just seen as well? Sean Penn William Scott, or whatever the fuck his name is, and Johnny Knoxville were in this one. Basically, Knoxville was cheated on his buddy's girlfriend, and as a way of saying sorry, he kidnapped a leprechaun, who happens to be Gerard Butler.
I'm gonna cut off your balls and feed them to you!
It's a pretty nothing story. It's a lot more violent than the rest, and there's a lot more threats of cutting each other's balls off. Personally, I think it's a bit of a waste to have Johnny Knoxville in your film and not style his performance around capturing something similar to Jackass.
It's Mr. MVP! Simp!
Sketch 9 is a total mood change from the framing device. The pacing is fucking awful in this film. Just watch the changing gears here.
Alright, we're getting close.
Uno margarita, por favor.
Honestly, what the fuck? How can you be attempting to build tension and then cut to a slow, meandering conversation in a Mexican restaurant? Anyway, Steve Merchant and Halle Berry are on a date and they decide to play truth or dare with each other. Gradually, the dares get more and more ludicrous and step up a gear as the day goes on. It's shot as a sort of montage, but it's really slow, predictable, and dull. None of it is particularly funny either. Halle Berry makes guacamole with her tits, they both get Botox, Merchant gets a spunking cock tattooed on his face. I accept that comedy is sort of subjective. Some of you might get a lot more out of this film than I did humour-wise, but it's the lack of depth that these skits have too that I take issue with. The storytelling aspect is so lacking and surface level. They all rely on one plot point or joke and work around that. It's not even a consequence of lack of time either. You can name countless examples of comedy films that execute quickfire comedy in a short amount of time so well. Take the opening scene in Shaun of the Dead. It's about 4.5 minutes long, similar runtime to most of the sketches in movie 43. The bare bones of the scene is that Shaun and his girlfriend are having a disagreement about not spending enough quality time alone together. The joke being that, ironically, they're having this conversation while being out with their friends, the very crux of the issue. Unlike movie 43, this scene is constantly adding and building upon that initial joke. It also does an incredible job at laying out the groundwork for who these characters are and what they represent. Can you say that about movie 43? I couldn't tell you this character's name, or his, or hers, or any of their motivations either. Just because these are short, isolated sketches doesn't mean you're exempt from making the characters matter, or that you can get away without building a world.
Sean, hold on!
I could go off on a tangent about how good Shaun of the Dead is at doing that, not just in this 5-minute scene, but throughout the film, but maybe that's for another video. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd want to see. Back to the present day, and these bozos have finally stumbled across the real movie 43. I don't understand how, since these two twats just made it up 45 minutes ago, but the movie glosses over it, and so am I. Movie 43 turns out to be a video of Baxter from the future, warning that Movie 43 initiates something called the Terrapin Protocol, a nationwide hypnosis protocol that the CIA had in the back pocket during the Cold War, that turns every US citizen into a sleeper agent and soldier. Do you really care at this point? It's a race against time for Baxter to stop the protocol being activated, but because these two dumb fucks have loaded his laptop with porn viruses, they fail, so the whole world explodes. What a great story that was. Also, I know it's a tiny nitpick, but why would everyone being turned into a sleeper agent and turning on each other cause volcanoes to explode? That's literally not what they've just said happens. It's so strange how underdeveloped this framing device is. It's almost not worth bothering with it. Nothing's developed, nothing's resolved, and the humour is severely lacking. Well, at least it's consistent, I suppose. It just ends up feeling like a rush to get to the next sketch. Just watch this sequence here. That cut from black is so quick. Fuck me, slow down. This movie doesn't take a minute to breathe or create any impact or suspense. What am I talking about? It's a comedy that can't be funny. What am I expecting?
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
There isn't a lot to say about Victory's Glory. Not that there has been much to say about the previous sketches, mind you. Purely because nothing really happens and there's nothing to it. This basketball team are worried about their opponents for the next match.
Coach, we scared.
But the coach insists that because they're black and it's a game of basketball, they'll win.
What game are we playing?
Basketball, coach.
What color is this kid?
White.
Exactly. They're white, you're black. This is basketball. I think what Coach is trying to say is that the key word is teamwork. No, the key word is you're black, they're white.
That's the punchline. I swear to God. There's an uncomfortable amount of freedom around using the N-word, particularly from the white actors when they come in. It just feels very unnecessary to be at the end of every sentence and said with such conviction. So the coach G's the team up and guess what? They win. The end. Now we get to see what happened in the... Wait, what? Film ends like that? Shut the fuck up. How? There's still 18 minutes left of the run. Oh, great. There's a sketch after the credits. Seriously though, forget the sketches. That's how the framing device ends. Why was it necessary to skip 2 years, 3 months and 4 days later? And why that specific? Couldn't it have just ended with the world being... Oh, fuck it doesn't matter, does it? This final sketch is about a woman's struggle to live with her boyfriend because his cartoon cat named Beazle keeps trying to kill her. Have I gone mental? This art style of meshing animated cartoons with real life is a semi-creative concept, and I'd like it if it hadn't been done countless times, years and even decades before, and to a much more entertaining standard. It is something different though, which I do appreciate. I suppose that's my reward for getting through this film. Beazle the cat is obsessed with keeping the boyfriend to itself, so it tries to kill Elizabeth Banks, but she survives being hit by a real car and being shot with a cartoon shotgun. Wait, why is the shotgun cartoon but the car wasn't? Should it be a real shotgun? Oh fuck me, who knows. She beats the living daylights out of the cat in front of a children's birthday party. Everyone's horrified. The guy takes the cat, dumps a girl, I think, and a little girl stabs Elizabeth Banks in the temple with a plastic fork. Excellent. People seem to like this sketch, mainly because it was written by James Gunn. I personally don't feel anything towards him. I feel nothing in general after watching this. So I'm of the opinion that this sketch is no better than the rest we've seen previously. Different, but not really an epic finale. Although if watching a cat spray liquid shit at a Hollywood actress is up your alley, then I suppose it's worth the wait. Okay. All of these stories have one thing in common. They are utterly, utterly pointless. You couldn't even consider them short stories because so many of them just end abruptly. They add nothing to the main story, whatever the fuck that even is, and they have no real meaning to them. What was the overall point of Chloe Moretz getting her period and everyone freaking out? What did we learn about the two men murdering leprechauns? What happened to Neil and Veronica? Why should we have cared about Kate Winslet's date with Netsack? We have no real connection with the characters because we're given such a short amount of time with them, and nothing really added to the overall story. I think short films are the hardest form of entertainment for this exact reason. You have such a short amount of time to create that real world feeling, so you have to do it well, not through shitty exposition and relying on big name actors. I'm not even saying the stories have to be connected with each other to be worth watching. It's not that they have to. I mean, one of my favourite TV shows, Inside Number 9, is an anthology series. None of the episodes have any link, but they are well written, funny, and crafted with love and care, not just shat out and crowbarred in for the sake of it. Most of all, the issue with these sketches is, they're not funny. This isn't comedy. It's just crass toilet humour which makes you feel slightly uncomfortable. I've compared it a lot to Family Guy's style of humour. The only difference is that Family Guy is a fucking cartoon, so it can be a bit out there, because it already has that added level of expression and absurdity there. Mark Kermode in his review of the film makes a great point when he talks about Richard Gere's segment.
This is the problem. I can't really tell you about it other than that it is crass sexual toilet humour of the, you know, of the most profound kind, and every now and then it seems to be you think, okay, fine, this is a satire about the way in which men can't deal with women's bodily function, or this is a satire about racism, all of which would be perhaps in some universe forgivable were it in the slightest bit funny. It's staggeringly unfunny. It's toe-curlingly embarrassing. It's only 90 minutes long, and it seems twice as long as that.
It's such a fine line with comedy. I totally believe you can joke about anything with the right audience, as long as everyone's aware that it's a joke. It has to be funny, otherwise what's the point? Mark Kermode has something called the 6 laugh test, in which he says, for a comedy film to actually qualify as a comedy, it should induce at least 6 laughs from the viewer within its duration. This film did not make me laugh once. Oh well, at least it bombed at the box office. Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, at least all these great actors got a paycheck and continued to do great stuff. I just wonder how they sleep at night, knowing that they were part of something this dire, and have idiots online like me spending hours writing and editing YouTube videos critiquing it. pretty well, I imagine. Thank you all very much for watching this video. I know it's something quite different to what I normally do, but I've been wanting to do this style for a while, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Leave me some feedback in the comments. I'd really like to see what you think about it. And also, just as a side note, I had to spend $7.99 of my actual money on this piece of shit. So I don't know, if you're new around here, please do hit the subscribe button and drop a like so I know it wasn't a total waste of money. Again, thank you so much for watching. I've been Greg TMR, you've been amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.